Good morning, viewers. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Mechanical Engineering Lecture Series by Dr. M.A. Channaya. Friends, in today's session, we are going to study the design procedure followed to design a pair of helical gears. Friends, you know very well, like our spur gears, helical gears are also used to transmit power between parallel shafts. And in case of the spur gears, you know very well that the contact between two teeth takes place throughout the width at a time. Whereas in case of helical gears, since the gear teeth are cut at an angle to the axis of the shaft, what happens? The contact takes place at one place and this contact moves along the width. So, these helical gears, they produce less noise, less vibration, and they will be able to transmit more power compared to the spur gears. Friends, in today's session, let us take a problem on helical gears and see what is the procedure followed when the diameters of the gears are given to you. So, I have taken a small example wherein the power to be transmitted is 10 kilowatts. They have given the RPM of the pinion as 1200 RPM. The diameter of the pinion and diameter of the gear are also given. Friends, you know very well that here the data given is both the diameters D1 and D2 are known. That is, the diameter of the pinion D1 and that of the gear D2 are given as 80 millimeter and 320 millimeter. So, very obviously, if you see this ratio, that is small d2 by d1 will give you 320 by 80, that is 4. That is to say, the transmission ratio for this particular drive is 4:1, wherein the diameter of the bigger one is 320 mm and that of the smaller one, that is the pinion, is 80 mm. And hence, the pinion speed is 1200 rpm. So, obviously, the gear will rotate at a speed of 1/4 of that is 1200 by 4 is how much? 1200 by 4 is 300 rpm is the speed of the pinion. So, friends, as usual, let us start with the step number 1. In step number 1, we are going to select material. So, selection of material for gear and pinion. So, selection of material. I told you, friends, there is a separate table under these helical gears and around 8 to 10 materials are available which can be used to design these helical gears. So, in today's session, I am going to select the same material for both gear and the pinion. So, I am going to select high grade cast iron. High grade cast iron. Here is cast iron for both gear and pinion. And this material will have a static stress sigma naught is equal to sigma naught of the pinion, that is 1, that is equal to sigma naught of the gear, that is 2, that is equal to 103 MPa or Newton per mm square. Friends, I have selected the same material for both gear and pinion. Next step, we are going to find out which one of these, either the gear or the pinion, is the weaker of the two. So, in step number 2, we are going to identify the weaker of the two members. Weaker of the two. When I say two, it is gear and pinion. Weaker of the two members. So, friends, as usual, whenever the material selected or used for both gear and pinion are the same, then the pinion is the weaker member and the design is to be based on pinion. So, we have to make a statement here and say, since gear and pinion are of same material, are of same material, that is casted and high grade material, comma, pinion is the weaker member, pinion is the weaker member, and the design is based, and the design is based on pinion, that is a weaker member, on pinion. Friends, remember, every step in machine design carries mark. So we have completed 2 steps out of the 4. So where in the first step you have selected the material, same material for both gear and pinion, and in the second step we have identified which is the weaker of the 2 materials. It is a weaker member of the 2. Friends, in the third step we are going to find out the value of module. So here in step number 3, I will write down step 3, to find module. To find module. In helical gears, you got 2 modules. One is the normal module, other one is tangential module. So I will say normal module Mn. So how to find out? So similar to our spur gear, and here also we are going to use what is called modified Lewis equation to find out this module, and the equation is like this: Mt is equal to cube root of 2mt Cw lambda z sigma naught Cv pi y is the equation which relates the transverse module, the torque, and the value of static stress. So this is the modified Lewis equation. Friends, let us simplify this equation, and if you see here, this small mt stands for the transverse module, and this transverse module is given by Mn by cos beta. So before we make this substitution, let us cube both the sides and see what happens. Therefore, you get small mt is equal to mt cube, you have to say, cubing both the sides, 2 times mt multiplied by Cw divided by lambda z sigma naught Cv pi y. This is the equation you are getting. So I told you this mt is the transverse module, mt is given by Mn, the normal module, by cos beta, where beta is the helix angle. So what is the meaning of helix angle? Friends, you know, if you take this side view of this helical gear, the teeth are cut at an angle to the axis, and what are this angle you have got is called beta. This angle is called the beta, and this value of beta, the helix angle or the helix, varies from 10 degrees to 30 degrees, 10 to 45. So we will say beta is equal to helix angle, and this will vary from 10 degrees to 45 degrees. Let us say in this problem, say we are following this beta is equal to 30 degrees for the purpose of studying the procedure. Friends, what I do, in place of mt, I am going to substitute Mn by cos beta and simplify this equation. So with this substitution of mt is equal to Mn by cos beta, this is cube both the sides, this is given by 2mt Cw divided by lambda z sigma naught Cv pi y, pi into small y. Friends, here let us further simplify and see what does this each term stand for in design. Friends, here you can see here this Mn is the normal module, that will be in millimeter, and that is to be found out. So, you put it as question mark. Then beta I have taken as 30 degree in this problem. This MT on the right hand side is the torque to be transmitted by the gear pair, and that is given by the formula 9550 N by N into 10 to the power of 3, so many Newton millimeter. Here friends, this N is the power transmitted, so 9550 into say 10 kilowatts is the power to be transmitted, 10 power 3. Next comes this N. N is the speed of the weaker member, and you know very well in this particular problem, pinion is the weaker member and its speed is 1200 RPM given in the question. So friends, you have this MT, the torque transmitted. Next comes friends the CW. CW is called wear and lubrication factor, and this factor is 1.15, which is available in the machine design data handbook for a completely enclosed set of helical gears with proper lubricant. So, this is 1.15, this is available in machine design data handbook, and friends, we have here this lambda. This lambda is equal to say 10 approximately, and this Z is the number of teeth. In this problem, pinion is the weaker member, and obviously this is going to be Z1. That is, how to find out this Z1? Friends, you have got D is equal to Mnz by cos beta. Since it is for D1, it is Z1. So friends, in this problem, the diameter of the pinion is given to us. So if I make this substitution, this is 80, that is Mn is unknown, this Z1 is Z1, this value Z1, and then this is cos beta, cos of 30 degrees. Friends, so you will be getting this Z1 in terms of Mn. Okay, Z1 will be 1 by Mn into some known numerical value. If you simplify, you will get like that. Friends, you have got this CV. CV is the static stress for the weaker member, that is 110, and then I will write down here sigma naught is equal to 103 Newton per mm square. Then CV is velocity factor. Friends, whenever the diameters are known, the value of CV can be calculated because CV depends on the velocity. Here we have this velocity Vm is pi d1 n1 by 60, that is pi by 60 into diameter is given as 80 mm, convert that to meter multiplied by speed of that. So friends, you are getting a value, say I am getting 22.5 meter per second. So I am not calculating any of this value, I simply assume this to be. So once we have this value of Vm, we can find out what is CV, and you know very well, whenever the velocity is greater than 20 meter per second, the equation for CV is equal to 5.55 and divided by 5.55 plus square root of Vm. So in some of the data handbooks, friends, this value is given as 5.6. It will not make much difference. Say you are getting 0.56. So friends, we have found out all these values, and then we are left with this y. Friends, whenever the diameters of the gears are known, this value of y, which is dependent on z, is to be retained as y. So I am going to keep y as y. So with all this substitution, friends, let us see what happens to this equation. So if I make the substitution, so this will be Mn by cos 30 cube is equal to 2 times MT, 2 times MT value you have calculated, CW wear and lubrication factor, and this is 1.15 obtained from the data handbook, you got this lambda as 10 and z in terms of module you are getting. So, how do you got the value? I will just show you again, repeat this. So, d1 is equal to mz1 by cos beta. So, here I am interested in z1. So, 80 times cos 30 divided by mn. So, you are getting this value 1 by mn with some numerical value which is known from here. And then friends, you have got the other terms like sigma naught is 103 Newton per mm square known to us. Cv we have found out, say 0.56, and then pi we have got. Then comes the term y. Y is retained as y whenever the diameters are given or known. So y. Friends, if you simplify, this mn goes to the numerator. Here mn cube you have got, you get mn here. So one term gets cancelled, and if you cross multiply, you will have mn square multiplied by that value y. So finally, it takes the form mn square y is equal to some numerical value, suppose say 2.22. So the diameters are known, and this is a permissible value. Permissible value since the diameters are known. Friends, after getting this final form of Lewis equation, let us see how to find out the module mn. So I will just write down this equation. Mn square y is equal to 2.22. So now we have to make number of trials to see that this product mn square into y will be equal to 2.22 approximately. So friends, I will just make some trials to find mn. So we have to take standard value of module from the table and try. So trial number 1, I am going to take mn equal to 5 millimeter. So when I got this value mn, then I have to find out y. What is y? Y is called Lewis form factor, that is given by 0.124 minus 0.684 divided by z. Friends, here this z is zv, and since the penny is the weaker member, I will say y1 is 0.124 minus 0.684 by z1, where z1 is equal to z1 by cos cube beta. This is the value of this. Friends, this value of z1 you are getting like this. So friends, if you make this substitution here, so z1 value you can get in terms of this y1. So friends, you make trial, and after substitution, say you get a value and say mn square y is equal to 5 square into y. Say y you are getting as 0.122. Just say, assume that you are going to get this value as 2.5. Say I am getting 2.5. This is mn square y, an induced value, and whatever I got from the formula is the permissible value. And if you compare this mn square permissible with mn square y induced, you find that the induced value is higher than the permissible value, and hence this is not satisfactory for a good design. So what we should do, we have to make a second trial and try with a value of m slightly lesser than 5. Say I am going to try with module mn equal to 4 millimeter. So repeat the procedure and again see what is the value of induced stress. Say in this trial number 2, I am taking mn is equal to 4 millimeter. Repeat the procedure, you get the value of y Therefore, mn square y is equal to 4 square multiplied by y, say 0.122. Say you are getting a value 2.15, say. So, the value induced is equal to 2.15, which is lesser than the permissible value 2.22, and hence the induced value is lesser than this, and hence the design is safe. So, we are going to adopt module Mn equal to 4 millimeter. So, once you have this module Mn is equal to 4 millimeter, we can also find out what is the width of this gear. That is given by the formula 1.15 mt, small mt divided by tan beta, or in other words it is 1.15 mt is mn by cos beta, and this is 1 by tan beta. You know the value of beta, you know mn, so you will get the value of b so many millimeter, because this value of phase width is required to find out the dynamic load. Friends, you got the values of all this. Now, in the fourth step, step number 4, which is equally important as our third step, we are going to check for wear and dynamic load. Wear and dynamic load. So, this wear load is given by Fw, dynamic load is given by Fd. So, the rule says that for proper design to withstand these loads, Fw should be greater than Fd, and this Fw wear load is given by d1 bqk by cos square beta for helical gear, that should be greater than Fd. So, first of all let us find out this Fw, find out Fd separately, equate them and get the value of k. So, now I will take this value of Fw. The Fw is given by d1 bqk. What are these values? This is Fw. d1 is equal to 80 mm, the diameter of the pinion. B we have calculated just now, and q is equal to ratio factor, that is 2d2 divided by d2 plus d1, or 2n1 divided by n2 plus n1, because we know the diameter 2 into 320, that is 640 divided by 320 plus 80, this is 400. This 640 multiplied by 400, this is going to be 1.6. So, we are getting this value of q as 1.6, beta we know. So, finally, with the substitution of these values, you are going to get Fw, the wear load, in terms of k, where k is called the load stress factor, and that has to be calculated by equating these two. Friends, now let us see what is the dynamic load Fd. For the dynamic load, if you refer to the data handbook, he says Ft is equal to Ft plus 21 Vm multiplied by Ft plus Bc cos square beta into cos beta divided by 21 Vm plus square root of Ft plus Bc cos square beta. Friends, these equations are all available in the data handbook, only you should know where is available and what is available. That you have to be, that comes by practice. So, this is all available in machine design data handbook. It is available, so you need not remember this. Friends, here we know Ft, the tangential load, and this tangential load Ft is given by mt by r into Cs. This mt we have calculated, r is r1, the radius of the pinion, which is 80, and this Cs is the service factor. Taking this as 1.5, you will be able to get what is the value of Ft. And here the velocity we know Vm, that is based on the diameter 80 mm, you will get the value. you know the value of B. C can be obtained from the table based on the error and the material of gear and pinion. Beta we know. So, you will be able to get the complete value of Fd in terms of newtons. So, I am going to get the value of Fd equal to some numerical value which is known, so many newton. So, friends, now he says Fw should be greater than Fd, Fw should be greater than Fd. So, here Fw is in terms of K, which is equal or greater than Fd, we know the value. Friends, from equating these two, you will be able to get K, the load stress factor, say you are getting 1.32. So, friends, after getting the value of K, you can refer to the data handbook and obtain the hardness to which the gear and pinion are to be hardened. So, if you refer to the data handbook, friends, you have a table for this K and it runs like this. You have the hardness BHN and this is the value of K. So, BHN we have given separately for the pinion and gear, and here you have got the value of K for 14.5 degrees profile or pressure angle and 20 degrees pressure angle. So, friends, in this problem we are using 14.5 degrees involute profile and hence corresponding the value of this K you have got, I think 1.32 you have got. Look to the left hand side and see on this line what are the values of pinion hardness and gear hardness. Maybe it is equal to 250 and 250. Most of the time they will be same, sometimes they will be different also. Friends, I think and I am very sure that you have followed the complete procedure to be followed while designing a pair of helical gears when the diameters of the gears are known. Friends, if you have followed this and if you feel that this is going to be of immense help to the students doing their third year BE degree in the subject machine design, I am very sure you can refer this or you can convey this information to all your friends, and please do not forget to subscribe to my channel Mechanical Engineering Lecture Series by Dr. M.A. Channaya. And friends, I wish you all a very good day, a nice day, and I thank you very much. This is Dr. M.A. Channaya signing off.